It's Monday, June 17th, 2024. Let's talk about the news. From the Washington Post, panel says lawmakers colluded with foreign powers, but won't name names. A new report about foreign interference in Canada's government, which was recently made public by a committee of Canadian lawmakers, claims that several unnamed Canadian politicians, quote, knowingly or through willful blindness, end quote, took money from foreign entities in exchange for interfering with government processes in such a way that said foreign entities would benefit. In other words, some currently unnamed Canadian politicians accepted bribes to put their thumbs on the scale in favor of the governments that bribed them. And some of them allegedly shared private government information with those foreign entities as well. This is considered to be a pretty big deal and follows other recent allegations about Canadian politicians spying for and sharing information with China. And this document indicates India, Pakistan, and Iran, among other nations, have likewise been meddling in Canadian governance. Some Canadian politicians have said they want their intelligence community to name names, and it's likely these revelations, though not entirely surprising, as rumors of such behaviors have been swirling around the ether for years, will impact the country's next election, which is likely to take place in 2025. From Ars Technica, huge telehealth fraud indictment may wreak havoc for Adderall users, CDC warns. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention warned late last week that a recent federal indictment of a telehealth company that has allegedly been illegally distributing Adderall and other stimulants online could result in disruptions in the availability of these drugs. Adderall and other commonly prescribed ADHD medications are controlled substances, and a bunch of online-only companies have popped up over the past handful of years, most of them focused on getting their customers prescriptions for these drugs and the drugs themselves. A business model that has made illegal distribution a lot more common. One of the big names in that space, Dun Global, has been taken down by the U.S. Justice Department, 2 people connected to it arrested by federal agents, and the concern is that folks with legitimate prescriptions will have trouble filling those prescriptions because other companies will be more hesitant to issue scripts and fulfill orders. There's also a separate ongoing shortage of these sorts of drugs in the US, and folks who use such stimulants regularly, even for doctor-advised purposes, can have a lot of trouble if that supply is suddenly cut off, hence the CDC's concern. And from Reuters, UK polls point to electoral extinction for Prime Minister Sunak's Conservatives. A trio of recent opinion polls in the lead-up to the UK's July 4th election suggest the currently governing Conservative Party might not just lose its majority, but experience a truly brutal loss. One of the polls found that chief rival Labour's lead has risen 2% since the last poll 5 days earlier to 46%, while support for Conservatives dropped by 4 points to 21%. And another suggested that Conservatives could see their representation in the 650-seat House of Commons drop to just 72 seats, with Labour scooping up 456. This is partly the consequence of what's generally considered to be a series of blunders and bad policies by the Conservatives, leading to a larger-than-usual desire for a changing of the guard by voters. But the Reform UK Party, which is politically further right than the Conservatives, seems to have also grabbed about 12% of support in one of these polls, suggesting that while some voters who would have supported the Conservatives may sit this one out, many have instead decided to throw in their lot with the chief supporter of Brexit, Nigel Farage, who is leading Reform UK. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.